If you have this skill, you're always aware of the movement of your finances. If not, you have no control over them. I'm talking about keeping record of income and expenses. Surprisingly, but very few people approach this responsibly. In this video, I'll tell you why it's important to know everything about your money, and as always, I'll start with a life story. I started recording my income and expenses quite late, just maybe a few years ago. And initially I was doing it in a notepad on my phone. Then I already understood that this is very important. After all, money tends to run out very quickly, and it would be better to control its movement, otherwise you risk being left without nothing. My scheme was simple. I had two spreadsheets, and as soon as I bought something, I wrote down the price in the first sheet. And as soon as I made a profit, I wrote it down in the second. At that time, it was enough because my task was to develop a habit. I wanted to understand what does it feel like when you have complete control over your cash. And as a result, it worked. At first, I got used to recording any financial movement and analyzing the situation once a week. And very soon I began to do this automatically. After some time, I realized that for a better analysis, I need to divide all operations into areas and categories. And I started using apps. Notepad was no longer convenient enough because I needed to calculate statistics manually, and I wanted to automate the process. I'll just say that both the App Store and Play Market have many applications that will help you to control your finances very easily and conveniently. It's much better than just a notepad. So, since I started keeping this account, I've been able to reduce my expenses on unnecessary things and increase my investments. And my overall state has also improved because I began to use my money more wisely. Every $100 earned me a lot more because I was consciously directing them to where they can be useful. I encourage you to try this strategy and want to share with you 3 positive consequences of taking control over your finances. First, you will start planning your finances in the long term. This is more important than it may seem. When it comes to creating strategies, a big time frame will always win over a small one. The skill of any leader, businessman, and simply successful people is to assess the situation based on the big picture. They don't micromanage, they engage in strategic thinking and plan ahead for consequences of their actions. It's easier to think on a small scale. By the way, this is one of the reasons why people are accustomed to receiving a monthly salary, which is often enough only for 1 month. When you are creating your own business, you must be prepared for the fact that it could be no profit for a long time, for example, within the first year, or sometimes even more. And to cope with this, you must know how to manage your money. Without the skill of planning your income and expenses, you will not get far. You should be able to plan your budget for any time frame, so you will learn how to use money optimally. This is especially important at first, when you're just starting. Imagine your finances as a living organism. It goes wherever it wants, spends its time however it prefers, and doesn't react in any way to your instructions. Now think about your money as a system that is created completely for you and is listening to any of your words. In which case do you think you'll be more successful? Second, you will stop wasting them on all sorts of nonsense. I'm almost 100% sure that you have a lot of things that you spend money on, but at the same time, these expenses don't pay for themselves, even if you think otherwise. Video games, branded clothes, alcohol, tobacco donations, and much more. Yes, all this creates a lifestyle that you may like today, but it won't lead you to anything serious in the future. The money you spend on this will not leave a positive mark on your story. It will rather distract you from what I'm talking about on this channel. Compare 2 following ways. In the first one, you just use money, spending it on all this. And in the second, you direct it to study economics, new languages, invest in business, and testing new ideas. What will you come to in 5 years in the first and second cases? I think you understand that the difference is huge. And by the way, I'm not saying that money shouldn't be used for entertainment at all. My point is that you should set limits for yourself, more than which you won't spend on it. I had a very clear division of my financial flows into areas of life, where 5% of my income was allocated to having fun, but I'll tell you about it a bit later. It's important to understand that rest also affects your efficiency, so you need to balance here. And again, this is easier to do when you have built a system and control it. Third, you can start investing. Now we have come to this point. It's conscious financial planning that will allow you to move to the level when you start investing. Actually, you can start doing this at any time, but be prepared for the fact that any investment is about the long term, and the vast majority of young investors make one mistake due to which their assets don't bring them profits and even make them lose money. They invest the cash they need to live on and then just sell their stocks, crypto, whatever, just to use that money to pay for housing, food or other basic needs. I don't think it's worth explaining that this usually happens when their assets fall in price. And the idea is to get back at least some part of investments, but it doesn't work in this way. By following such a strategy, you will not create a capital for yourself and will only become poorer. But there is one solution that will allow you not to withdraw your invested money earlier than it's necessary. Financial planning. When you sit down and look at your income, then your expenses and savings, you can calculate exactly how much you can invest and stay afloat. Act in such a way that in 6 months or a year you will not realize that you actually invested too much and now you have nothing to pay for housing. Rely on numbers and facts. And yes, absolutely the same thing works for investing in your business. It's important to understand the basic mechanics and then adapt it to any other direction. I hope I was able to explain why it's important to know where and in which volumes money comes from, as well as where it goes. This is the basis of any financial planning. This skill is critical for any person who wants to become rich and succeed. And perhaps this video will change your life, but only after you start taking actions. Guys, thank you so much for checking my content, for watching my videos. If this episode was useful for you, give me your like and the comment below. If it wasn't, give me your dislike and the comment below as well to explain what should be improved next time. Follow my channel and see you in the day after tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much.